Three of us are back together in the Phantom's Lair, but with a shake of a head, it might just be 2.5 of us back in the Lair. Some stories to tell from down in Tassie. Five Names does. This is the Phantom speaking. Welcome to the post-round 14 episode of the podcast. Of course, I'm talking about Five Names. Simeon Kingsley, Thomas Wilson, back from his week off, down in the homeland of Tasmania, getting up to who knows what. We called him last Monday. On the show, we said you better be subscribing to Code Sports YouTube channel to watch him this week. He did declare he will be in the office.
Yeah.
Physically. Maybe not mentally or spiritually, but are you with us?
I'm here. Yep. I'm a bit of a shell of a person, but,
Good weekend in the homeland?
Yeah, it was good. Good times,
Yep.
Gave it a try. Gave it a nudge.
What'd you get up to again?
Don't know if I can really say on video. Maybe I'll start a Patreon and we can, some subscriber content kind of thing, and we'll go from there.
Well, maybe you can tell, when you buy the winner a beer of the Lair League, that'll be
that.
part of the prize.
I can regale them with store.
I haven't heard them all yet, so I'd like to hear.
Yeah. Also, we'll say shout out to Joe or whatever who did say he was at the winter feast on the Saturday and he bought me a beer. Didn't go that. I was actually, where was I at the time? That's a good question. I was getting ready to go on a boat party. So, couldn't go with a feast. So, sorry. Apologies. Hope you enjoyed it, Joe. It was good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're back because otherwise I have to sit here with the chief.
Yeah.
A very, very grumpy chief this morning on a Monday morning. He's top of the pod. Yeah, he's come in, all guns blazing. His computer won't work. He's redesigning the set. 30 minutes after start time of the podcast is what's going on?
Yeah, got a plant over near the fence. Then I don't know if I like that.
We told you not to put it there either.
Don't know if I like that look.
You're all over the place.
Oh yeah, look, made a few adjustments, but there's nothing to be grumpy about when you are top of the pod this week. As I called it early, tweeted out on Thursday?
Yep, you did.
Said it was game over, and I was going to enjoy this Monday, which I am because. Top of the pod, best supercoacher on this podcast, I would say.
Yep, bagged had 28 green dots, but only 18 count. But well done.
Thank you very much.
What happened? Tell us your score.
Yeah, 21-67 for old Darcy over here. So the Chief back to his rightful spot on the top of the pod. Ranking rose up as well. A nice little, nearly 2,000 spot bump there. So up to 4,050 in the overall ranks. I knew that I was going to start struggling in the first couple of buys there, but these next couple here is where the Dossie's going to flourish. So huge score.
Have you gone past 5 names in overall stakes?
Oh, no doubt.
What is?
Yeah, 4,050.
Yeah,
sure.
no, you want, yeah,
easy,
Light
light work.
work.
Yep.
All right.
We get to middle of the pod.
Middle of the pod. Yeah, middle of the pod. 2,071 for me, up 53 spots. Not a lot.
Nice.
Pretty much held ground. 1,463 overall, but a better. My first 2 bye weeks.
And it's time. The King of Bop. Bottom of the pod.
Generally was tempted not to come in.
5 names.
I was generally tempted to just work from home today.
Gone from the highs of top of the pod last week.
Yeah.
Coming down to the
I
very
didn't
low.
even get to really enjoy top of the pod. I just kind of just chilled out, did my own thing. So 2020. Good year for everyone.
Was it? Yep.
Yeah. And dropped 516 spots.
Chief was still bagging the Lair in 2020.
He probably was.
Yeah, bagging me in the Lair.
Yeah.
Well, that's gone through some positive changes.
Bottom of the pod.
Yep. Time for some heroes and villains. And I want to start out. I couldn't go past my man, the new rookie GOAT that we're going to be talking about for many weeks to come, Tom McCarthy. Oh my goodness, as a Weagles Nuffy over here, was a pleasure to watch him play. 133, I went early, I jumped on the train, missed out on Zach Johnson, was very upset about that, but I just couldn't do it with my trades this week. Brought him in, 99k defender, 133 fans.
Yep.
On
Massive.
debut, 31 disposals at 94%.
29
efficiency.
effective.
Oh my goodness. Yep, what a man.
It's going to go well this week, isn't he?
Well, he's on the bye, so.
But 5 names. Cue up the Pan music because we're going early on the Pan this week because of that 5 names. Now, I like the input from the loyal Lair listeners about the pan segment. If you do have some suggestions or someone that deserves to be sizzled up and cooked in there for something they did or didn't do in SuperCoach, our man, the Chief. Now 5 names. Dominates SuperCoach official social channels. So again, if anyone out there sees anything that he said, of course, he's probably posted it himself.
Yep. Yep.
Now, this was brought to my attention yesterday afternoon as well. Quote, not quote tweeted, quoted on Instagram, put it on the story, did everything, every channel that we've got, pulled out the June 3rd graphic that he made. I think you can safely bring him in early with a picture of himself on it.
Safely.
So not only did he do that on the week that McCarthy wasn't picked, 3 weeks later, he's gone and done it with a crystal ball emoji as well.
And with a photo
and
of
pretending, and no shame as well. You're pretending that is the SuperCoach official channel pulling out your great work when it was you doing it yourself.
I'll do it again.
Unbelievable. And it's been noticed as well.
Look, making my own quote cards is a personal hobby of mine, especially with the great takes I have on this show. It's not hard to find good ones. So I said safely bring him in early. What did I do? Brought him in early, 99K.
But he didn't play that week. You didn't play that week. You did that card.
I just said early, bring him in early. So look, safely, 133 on debut. My hero for the week, fans. You got a hero in that rabble?
Can't say that anymore. My hero, now, interesting one. Alistair Clarkson.
Alistair Clarkson?
Is my hero.
Wow, okay.
Now, Harry Sheezel, again, massive on the weekend, 115 SuperCoach points. Like it was last year, doesn't matter where he plays. The kid's a gun, back him in. Too many people panicked. But we heard during the week, 5 names pointed out. Again, we don't know what he was doing at the time. Sent us the video of North Melbourne going through their players' nicknames that the public wouldn't know about. What did Clarko give Harry Sheezel?
Let's have a listen.
Yeah, he calls me Phantom. I don't actually know why. It happened in America when we travelled there at the end of my first year, so it'd be good to know why he does call me that.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure his mum and dad would really want to know why we call him the Phantom, let alone everyone out there. But I think we just keep that one to the Phantom himself rather than revealing it to the wider public.
Unbelievable. That sounds like that's a bit of a 5-name story. I reckon you get Clarko with a beer at the end of the season, he'd probably tell you, but love it.
Maybe we get why do we call you the Phantom? Like, is there another name that we can't actually?
Sheez.
I won't tell my mum and dad that. May have to get the Sheez on. Phantom and the Phantom.
Wow.
1-on-1 with the Phantom.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah.
My hero.
Might have to trade him out this week for that.
Cool.
You would. I suppose I have a hero. Matt Times.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Good trade.
He's just really good, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, I avoided bringing him in because of the buy that he's got, but he's just going to be out of range, out of reach for me now, given he's just gone ceiling after ceiling. So, nice pick. Quick villain.
Yep.
Go on.
There you go. Well, just on that game quickly as well, Zach Johnson, unbelievable, 84 points again as a rookie, the must-have cash cow of the week that everyone brought in.
Yep.
Big miss there from you, Chief.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunate. That's all I got. Sam Doherty, bit of a unique pick for me. So brought him in. I've probably got a few options, but you guys can pick the other ones. Scored the 69 this week. So back-to-back tons. I had him for his previous ton, so happy with that. But 69 against West Coast, though, the ball wasn't back there too much. I'm not panicking that much. I think against West Coast, it's not going to be in the back line too much for him to mop up. So hopefully that picks up. But Doc my villain, fans.
Yep, got another comment on Friday night as well about another pan suggestion. But, you were right in the middle of the pan. There's no room for anyone else this week.
Okay.
But Sam Mitchell, villain of the week for his treatment of another one of your
the pencil
self-indulgent SuperCoach social channel graphics. Henry Hustwaite pencil.
Yeah.
Dominating the VFL. Finally gets to go, not sub. Barely gets, not a lot of game time. Then he was subbed out, finished on 4, played less than the half. Give him a go, Sam. I know it was bad conditions. I know maybe didn't sort of suit his game. We know he's still got a slight frame in there. It was a very tough hole. It was a slog. It was an excruciating watch. 5 names. That's why he doesn't go to that side of Tasmania at all, let alone to watch football.
Yeah.
The Sam Mitchell villain for his treatment of Henry Huswaite.
Yeah.
Matthew Nick's not far behind as well, subbing off for Luke Pedler.
Yeah, I mean, that could be mine. Yeah.
Sorry.
After I said, no, don't bring him in. And then I
that was your lowest moment of the year, I think.
Probably was.
You just gave in. You couldn't.
I know. And I was going out to dinner on the Friday night and I was like, oh yeah, well, I'm trying to walk in and I was like, yeah, we'll see how we go. I'll have, and then I caved and I was really annoyed. I just annoyed myself.
Yeah.
Wasted trade maybe.
Surprising nobody villain this week. I'll just add a second. Bont.
What?
66.
So I don't have him. Because
I know for me, but Fance and I have him. 66 points. So anyone that doesn't have him he'd be their hero.
Yeah.
Because he's an attainable.
Marcus Winhager be the hero.
Yeah. 587k he's down to now. So everyone's jumped on in the last 3 weeks. 107, 101, which that's okay, but it's not Bont level okay. And then a 66 on the weekend, as you said, heavily tagged by Marcus Windhager, dropping 42k just on the weekend.
Do you remember when we spoke to Selby and he said, don't bring him in?
He did.
Wait. What do you two do?
Tiggs this week.
All right, on to the next round, fans. We've still got another 2 weeks left of the buys, so, still plenty of strategy to go here, but our teams are gradually getting closer towards completion. And I don't know about you guys, but this week, it's looking pretty close for me.
Me too.
Right near there, but trades are running thin, which is another issue, but still got the best 18 for 2 more weeks. And the teams on the bye this week, it's a bit of a tougher week, I suppose, but the next week is harder, even harder. So this week we've got Adelaide, Hawthorn, Melbourne and West Coast. So the likes of your Jordan Dawsons, Isaac Rankins, even a big Maxi Gawn for those with him, Clary, Petrarca, probably more highly owned as well. So few bullets to navigate this week. But we've got fresh off the bye, we've got the Swans, Pies, Gold Coast and Richmond. So a few obviously relevant names coming back into our sides as well, fans. But lots to talk about heading into round 15, the second last week of the buys. I'm keen to get out of these buys, but we've got a lot of strategy left to go.
Yep, easy week.
Easy.
Yep.
Easy week.
Absolutely easy. We could have had this podcast in 5 minutes, out the door.
Yep.
Do you reckon it's that easy, fans? All right, then. Let's get straight in. We've doing a few segments right off the top here today. The pan, nice and early as well. Changing it up. We
move the pot plant around.
It is important. Couple of weeks in SuperCoach. Some difficult buys, but this is the team. Yeah, you need, hopefully, your team is coming together now, but still big calls need to be made. Whether, 5 weeks ago, we wouldn't have thought a complete team probably includes Callum Mills, Colin McCurcher, a couple of other guys we're going to talk about later as well, but maybe it does in this climate. So we'll talk about that as we go, but yes.
It's a walk in the park. All right, let's get your top targets.
Now, again, another just knocked out the park again last week.
What is your top targets? I have no idea. I didn't pay attention.
Thanks for listening.
Last week was the 2 Zacks.
Yeah, that was an easy week.
Yep. All right. Easy week this week. Who's number 1?
Tom De Koning too, last week.
Yep.
Zai Wanganeen Miller. Yep. Good week.
Well done. All right. Next.
This week, absolute lay down Mazaire top 3. I'll just do it and then that's it.
Okay, go.
Then I'm walking out.
Down the Baz.
Number 1 target this week ahead of round 15. Too many cameras in here, Chief.
Yeah.
Get the plants, work out the cameras. Callum Mills is the number 1 target this week. 357k, back off the bye. Was good pre-bye, passed the eye test, backed up with the SuperCoach score as well. Too cheap to pass up. I think defender only either to finish a defence, and I think he is definitely a legitimate F6 or a flex spot to finish off.
F6?
As well, D6, whatever. You can put him in F6 if you want. But I think, given what he's done in the past, given where Sydney are at, given the role he's played coming back into that side, number 1 target this week and easy, of almost the most underpriced premium of the year potentially.
Wow.
Number 2, another absolute lay downs. They have to do it this week. Don't have to. Sam Darcy from the Dogs. Now, the Dogs players have labelled him the cheat code. And if you watch Thursday night, his return He is a cheat code. No one, now it's been said a lot, no one can get near him when he puts his hands up to mark the ball. No defender can get near him. The Dogs have the Tigers this week. Yes, he's got a high break even, 147. Could have that at 3/4 time against the Tigers. Not even Alex Rance, if he was still playing for the Tigers, probably get to Sam Darcy when he reaches the ball at the highest point. So get him in. Great way to finish off your 4-line under 500k. A player who could, given the Bulldogs run to finish the year, would average 110 plus.
Huge.
With a few big spike scores, even if there are a couple of small scores in between. Number 3 to finish off the absolute locks of the round. He's not playing, but obviously you need some money to fund these upgrades or fund the sort of slight sideways or to get your Mills and Darcy. Tom McCarthy, your man, Chief. Quote card this one up as well, I reckon, after. But Tom McCarthy, number 3, 99k. Get in this week. Take the cash. There's no cheaper player in SuperCoach to make more money if you're trading down. Get him in. Get him ready. The next question becomes, can you finish him in your team? D6, flex. Is he an on-field part of your finished team? A question for later on. But number 3, he's the man. Number 4, quickly, Jack Martin from the Cats as well. No buy of him, 150k. Playing off halfback. A pretty good score on the weekend. Doesn't fit in that absolute lock category, but an option there if you need someone who we know can score if his body stays right in the right role on the field there in the forward line. Now, number 5 is, I like Caleb Sarong. As a cheap premiums, had the buy, finding form, lower break even, 140 points. Finally did something on the weekend. Outdid Andy Brayshaw again, but I'm going to double down on our man Colby McCurcher, number 5.
Ooh, wow.
Despite a 66-point score, but if you didn't jump on, you actually saw another week of that role continue in defence. 24 kicks. The rain over in Perth didn't help the outlet kick. If he has 24 kicks this week at the MCG against Carlton, 150.
Okay.
Otherwise, I won't be on the show next week if he has 24 kicks and doesn't score 150.
Wow.
140, let's say.
Right.
But again, 24 kicks. If you told us last week that Colby McCurch was going to have 24 kicks, take kick-ins, and the Roos were going to just lose over there, you would have banked a 130. So the rolls there, if you need an option, 407k, still good buying. Break even, still down, I think, in the 30s or 40s. So I'm doubling down on Colby McCurch, number 5.
Can you quote that card up?
Yeah, I'll quote that one up.
I'll be on the show.
Yeah.
24 kicks, 150.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for 60s in my final squad.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the top 5.
That's top 5.
Woo.
Yep.
Okay.
I only need top 3 this week.
Yeah, geez, all right. I guess let's expand a bit on those and get our take, Sim, because
That's it. 3. That's all we need.
The opinions matter on here. Sim, your
What
thoughts
are you doing, Sim?
on those top 3? Because obviously, let's talk Callum Mills first.
I
was
brought him
number
in.
1.
I brought him in last week.
Last week?
Yeah, just to make cash.
On the buy?
On the buy. Make cash. I was fine. Yeah, probably should. Yeah.
Jeez.
Light years ahead.
Light his head. Yeah.
All bop strategies, I suppose.
No, but I mean, yeah, no, I brought him in. So, that's fine. Yeah. They can be a D6.
I would have preferred him to be playing midfield, like, if I'm being honest, for him to be that, as you say, D6, D5, D6 kind of guy to finish in our teams, though. And he's seemingly playing much more defence, or pretty much purely in defence. Is that a concern for his potential ceiling when you've got, because Matt Roberts didn't play against Richmond, that's when he tonned up. The first game wasn't that amazing.
But that would be easy.
Did have 5 CBAs in that first game.
They'll be easing him back into it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you might see him feature there at times.
Yep.
But I think if it is a bit of a split role, as long as he's not playing that lockdown role in defence, which we know he can do as well,
yeah,
I think he's too valuable, especially given the way they're going.
Yep.
At the price.
So Sam Darcy as well, 5 names. Your thoughts there?
Yeah,
high break even this week, but
Yeah.
as Fance says, up against Richmond.
Yeah, I mean, interested. Like, he could.
Three-quarter
You're always
time.
a little bit worried about key forwards,
Yeah.
especially in the second half of the year, but he's a free.
Yep. And then, McCarthy, we don't need to speak about. He's a gun. So, getting him on the buy, never ideal, but the job security.
I think with rookies, it doesn't matter.
The job security's there. And next week is a tough buy too for many coaches. Next week is the strategy to avoid. Next week you've got Brisbane, Essendon, Geelong, and the Giants on the buy. That is going to be a tough tough buy for people to navigate.
Yeah, you don't bring any premiums.
No.
They'll have their buy the come.
No.
Also, the Dogs, Sam Darcy, at Marvel Stadium under the roof again this week. Then every other game at Marvel except for trip to Sydney, trip to Brisbane, and one game in the MCG. So it should all be in pretty good conditions. Doesn't have to go down to Tassie or anything like that. So 147 is in trouble by three-quarter time.
Yeah, so your top target's interesting omission here, but it's probably because maybe he's been in the top targets. You're presuming people either have him. Looking at some Uber premiums here. If you're in the market for an Uber premium, and as we said, not who doesn't have their bye next week, so excluding all the players that have their bye next week from Brisbane, Essendon, Geelong and the Giants. The Bont, we mentioned him before, 587K, up against Richmond, still a high break even, but if you don't have him, under 600K is great buying for Bont.
It is. I just think that break even is that next level higher. And I think given his price, can wait a little bit. Sam Darcy's still cheap. 587 is not cheap for Bont at the moment.
As a non-owner for you, you're waiting?
Yeah, I reckon I'll maybe try and go Darcy this week and Bont next week.
Okay.
What about staying on the Dogs, given Richmond, break even at 81, Bailey Dale, featured in the top targets buy or sell the last couple of weeks. Big again against the Saints. Speaking of big three-quarter time or half-time scores, could get ugly if you don't own Bailey Dale against the Tigers.
Yeah, that was huge from Bailey. I'm very, very, very happy owner. I think, as you said, mentioning that Marvel run that they have, he could very well be a top six now from here, as you sort of outlined in your targets previous week. I think that is a great shout. I don't know what is his price at now. He must be
558. Good buying still.
Yeah.
There's no reason he can't. He could be the number one.
Taking over Lockie Whitfield for price at the moment.
Yeah.
As well.
There's no reason he can't match Whitfield and Max Holmes, let's say, from here.
Yeah.
Jack Sinclair.
Does have a huge ceiling.
Mm.
How about the other players that, still people fairly highly owned these guys and been brought in the past few weeks, but all good buying and all off their buy. Zach Butters, we saw probably enough, still a pretty hard tag at times, but still managed to pop a ton for Port on the weekend. Nick Dacos as well, off his buy. He's still really cheap for what he can produce. And then Harry Sheezel, the Phantom, as you mentioned, Fance, he's still good buying as well. A couple of weeks playing back in that midfield role. Looking pretty good if you are a non-owner.
Yep, very good. 512, good buying for the Fant. Nick Dacos, 535K. He's down 100K on his price tag. Yep. St Kilda this week for the Pies. Does Ross continue with Marcus Winhag? He hasn't done a lot of tagging this year. Obviously tagged Bont. Good success on the weekend. And then Ed Langdon had some success on Dacos the week before as well. So does Ross go again?
Now, just quickly though, we mentioned a Port player before. A big talking point on the weekend. Now, do you have an update for us, 5 names? There's a player that people are looking at.
Yep.
Had 94 points in the first half. I'm talking about a certain player that used to hang on this wall.
Yeah, man.
Till Phantom destroy the photo.
Yeah, man.
There he is again, the horny one.
Yeah, Stante. He's having scan.
Hang on a sec. Is this? Some breaking
We're
news.
getting very dated very soon. He's going to have a scan this afternoon, so probably a couple of hours.
So we're recording, 1 o'clock Adelaide time on a Monday.
I guess the initial thing, it's testing well structurally, so that's the main thing. Like, you have all the shoulder, it seems to be good structurally, so it might be like they say Stenia or whatever, one of those. So I think at the moment he's still definitely in the mix to play.
Okay. I need him. I'm a holder.
I held.
Can't lose face in the horny one.
Yeah.
He's still back in the horny one over here on the Lair.
Yeah.
But good buying though. It's at 491K. His break even's still high.
Yeah. You could probably wait one more week, I reckon. What the hell?
They got another home game as well after that. 3 home games in a row.
Their run is actually quite nice.
If you're looking to fill out your final forward spot then, and you've only got, limited trades as we do, you've mentioned a higher target with a solid high break even as well this week in Sam Darcy. What about Darcy versus Horne-Francis for the run home. Which way are you leaning? Obviously, we're presuming, as we said, recording on a Monday, let's assume Horne-Francis' shoulders totally fine, good to go this week.
It's a big one.
I'll just say Horne-Francis because just that little thing about key forwards sometimes.
I'm getting both.
Yeah.
So I've got Horne-Francis getting Darcy.
Yeah.
I think you could try to do that even if to play one at flex. I'd do it.
Yeah, Horne-Francis is my flex at the moment.
But I think if you're making that trade this week, I'd just take the Darcy and do it.
Okay.
If that means not getting Horne-Francis next week, I think that's fine. You obviously get an extra Richmond this week.
I think the other thing, Darcy's ceiling is probably going to be massive. Like Horne-Francis will probably, but I feel like Horne-Francis' floor is going to be better. So, yeah.
Yep. And starting with those ceiling scores.
Chief?
Well, I mean, obviously a slight injury concern would probably sway me towards the player that doesn't have those issues at the moment. And also, to your point, they've got Western Bulldogs, for Sam Darcy, have Richmond this week. They've got North in a couple of weeks. They've got West Coast in the second to last round of the season as well. I mean, obviously there's plenty of games in between there. There's an Essendon thrown in there. So I think there's opportunities as to Five Names' point, there's some big ceiling potential there. But yeah,
Are you bringing him in?
It's tough. I've got both. If we're putting those two together, that is actually a really tough question. Horne-Francis fully healthy, I'll probably go Horne-Francis, to be honest. But I did have Sam Darcy as a top 6 forward in our preseason rankings. If you do recall.
Why don't you quote yourself on that?
The SuperCoach channels haven't.
Yeah, might have to put a card together. Might have to put a card together for that one. All right, I just want to quickly look. We've done this every week. I'll just go through this quickly. Talking about some players fresh off the bye that could be options. So we haven't looked as much at these guys in previous weeks because they had their bye to come. Players fresh off the bye that you could target as well that are now coming into consideration. We've mentioned the top targets. You say it's an easy week, Fans, but if you do want to go a little bit different and bring in these players, here's a few options. Sydney. I've got a little pew-pew here.
Oh, here we go.
I don't have anything.
This is why you've done this segment.
Well, can I steal this?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this week,
I don't have anything.
Pew pew.
Unique names with the Chief. Brodie Grundy. Now, I know the price tag is exorbitant. He's over 600K. So if you can rob a bank to get this guy in, he's got the best, I would say, ruck run to come for the run home. So if you need some money, and this is like out there trades, if you've still got heaps of trades, which basically nobody does, say you want to go against a Gorn on the way home. He's on his bye. I'm just saying, if you want to make it, if you've got no cash.
This is the week, right?
If you've got no cash, he's close to 700K still. You can bank nearly, or he might be still over 700.
678.
678. Oh, it's not that much banking, really.
Oh, Chief's talking himself out of it.
Brodie Grundy.
Yeah, the segment back.
Hear me out.
Brodie Grundy.
His pre-buy round form was vintage Grund. Vintage Grund. Now he's got the best ruck run home. I could see him being the perfect flex play. Like if you missed a De Koning, you could still go De Koning, but the run from here, Grundy's is better than Tom De Koning. So if you're tossing up between those guys, if you're even eyeing off a Luke Jackson who's a similar price, like if you just randomly have the money, I'm just saying Brodie Grundy could be an awesome point of difference and an amazing flex position if you've just randomly got the coin.
He's got the second highest 5-round average in the game.
Yeah.
136.2. Only Tristan Sherry sits above him. 1.9% of teams.
I know. It's probably, as I said, the amount of cash we have this year is probably not even worth mentioning, but at 611K, as I said, he's got Port this week to start it off. Now, if they go with Sweet and Vicentini again, obviously it limited Gorn for a little bit there until he popped the 120, big last quarter. But he's got Port, Western Bulldogs, he's got Essendon on the run home and West Coast in the last round as well. And then like a Rowan Marshall, who's a fairly easy matchup. So it's a lot of really nice matchups.
Just
a lot of nice matchups.
Yeah, just put my poor boy Rowan.
Don't mind it.
I'll move on. Brodie Grundy is this week's unique names with Chief.
Can't wait for the card to come off on that one as well.
No, it won't be this week. He'll score 50, 60, 70. Then he'll score 155 weeks time. And then
he'll do it, and it won't actually have Brodie Grundy. I'll just have a big photo of the Chief.
Yeah.
Now, we mentioned Callum Mills. If you're a non-owner and are we even targeting a Chad Warner or Isaac Heaney, these guys at this point?
Don't think so.
Maybe Warner.
Warner's a good price, but you want it.
Yeah.
I think given you've got the options there, Darcy, Horne-Francis, you've got the options there. I think you want to see a bit more from Warner first.
Yeah. Justin McInerney, low-key's been putting up some pretty big numbers.
Just pew pew. We're still there.
Look at him go.
All right, for the Pies, so as I mentioned, potential top liners is how I've been going through it. So I consider Grundy a potential top liner if we're including 3 rucks for if we include the flex position there. I could see Grundy being a top 3.
Scored more points than Gordon in the last 5 weeks.
I could see that happening. As I said, a pew-pew. Now, potential top liners from the Pies who are returning from the bye. I've just got Nick Dacos. I didn't have anyone else there.
Josh Dacos is a... Oh, how expensive is he at the moment? I think he's an option.
Houston also coming into some form before the bye there. He could be considered. And Darcy Cameron, again, another ruck if you're up for a flex. He's a much cheaper option than Brodie Grundy. And probably similar par to like a TDK. His form's been pretty good as well. But yeah, I think Nick Dacos is the only guy from the Pies for me.
Speaking at 5-0 average is 98 for Nick Dacos.
Yeah. Cheap though. Means he's cheap.
Very cheap.
Surely comes home stronger than he's been so far.
Would you wait? We'll have to wait and see. We don't know
just
what Ross
fade
would
him
do.
if you're not only
what
just
Ross
fade.
would do.
Yeah. Gold Coast
Eagles
coming off
after
the bye. Top liners. I literally have no one.
Your man. What about your man?
I've got 2 potential guys in the midfield. Again, pods. So
Noah Anderson.
Matt Rowell might be less than a pod. I don't know. His ownership might be up there now because he got so cheap. But Matt Rowell and Noah Anderson are the 2 guys. Obviously, Noah Anderson is going to drop a little bit in price given he got injured right before his bye on a 75, I think. So, maybe in a couple of weeks. But I don't know. Gold Coast game plans just sort of doesn't entice me into picking them. And I'm scared. As a Matt Rowell owner, I'm not thrilled about having him for the rest of the season.
What about your boy?
Oof.
Your man.
Sammy Fland.
Can we get the Nuff alert?
Yeah. It's every week with him. Every week we get a Sam Flanders message. It's just that's you.
I love my Sammy Flanders. Now, have you seen the journos have picked up? So they've been listening to the Lair. They've been hearing Dossie say Flanders to Victoria.
You've never said this on the Lair.
I've said it in the office many times.
You've said about 6 weeks in a row that he's coming.
He'll be all right.
Him in for
he's
the
just
run
not
home.
getting a role. So anyway, it's
that's 5 names and I have never disputed that he can play.
Yeah.
It was just that he wasn't playing or playing well or in a role.
Yeah.
That would mean he's a Supercoach option this year.
Yeah. It's amazing when Bodie Ulan's a better option than him.
Bodie Ulan is a good player.
It's just you're playing.
You didn't know who Bodie Ulan was.
You looked it up. I did know.
This is true. This is inside that. Nah.
Baffled that he came second in the best and fairest last year.
Do you know
Runner up BNF.
We looked it up and you said, number 2, who's Bodie Ulan?
Who's voting over there?
Don't you know how best and fairest word in
who
coaching
does the
thing?
club role? But anyway, sorry. But Richmond, I don't have any top liners and no one worth targeting.
Dion Prestia?
Oh no,
26K.
You can't do it.
He's one of the most traded in players.
Would you go there? -3 break even.
God no, he will get injured. He will get injured at some point.
130, 221.
Most traded in players. So we're still going to talk about a couple of rookies coming up on the bubble. Your favourite segment.
Yeah.
5 names.
I need that.
Yeah, Prestia is at the moment the 8th most traded in player. More than 2,000 coaches bringing him in. It's early in the week, obviously, but yeah, Prestia. Yeah, again, I couldn't go there. He's been unbelievable his first couple of games here, but 132, 121. The Dogs this week at Marvel, Adelaide, Geelong. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you've got one person that's your only damaging player at the moment, which if he is doing what he did the previous weeks, going on that, then he'll just get shut down. I think he had nearly 100 in that first half against Sydney, and then they put attention to him. Yep. So I couldn't personally go there, you guys.
I think so. Good price. But we've got some other cheap options. I think if there wasn't the names we spoke about before, Mills and Darcy and the like around, maybe he comes more into it then.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's the guys fresh off the bye. How about we talk about some guys on the bubble? Now, I've got these tiered differently this week because I know he's not on the bubble at all, but I've just got McCarthy in his own tier because this guy, as you said, in top targets, he could be I'm looking at him as a potential D6. I know it's getting excited off one game.
Get the Nuff alert going.
How many kick-ins?
10.
Yeah.
10
Played on-
kick-ins played on from how many?
10.
Okay. So that's a score base. You're starting right there pretty nicely.
And they're 29 effective disposals. So it wasn't all kick-ins either, we know.
No.
19.
9 intercepts, 9 contested possessions. And if you just watched the game, he looked like, I've played AFL for 10 years. Like, as I said to you just before, off air, Tom Stewart areas coming into the league.
He did say it. Now, that's a good quote.
He just said, yeah.
Tom Stewart 2.0.
Like 24 years old, coming in.
Oof.
You can see why. You can see why now that he's playing at the level. He's a guy that, he averaged, I think, 100 in the VFL, but you can see a guy coming in to a structured AFL system, and that's West Coast. We're talking not a great structure.
Yeah,
but he's a guy that can put up numbers.
What did Minnie say yesterday when he was when they gone to this week? And he absolutely went at them at quarter time. Or something.
Pathetic.
Yeah, pathetic.
Yeah, he said we're pathetic in the contest. But yes, anyway, Tom McCarthy. I know, as I said, not on the bubble, but he's your rookie. Yeah. He's your rookie target. Now on the bubble.
Yep.
Harry Rouston, I have here 113K. He's played 2 games now on the bubble. Had a massive first half. I checked the scores. I was like, how's this guy on? I think he was on high 60s at halftime. He was leading GWS for scoring. So he had one of the highest centre bounce attendances for the round for GWS. Could he be a little stopgap here if you've just got, for me, for instance, I missed Zach Johnson. Could I just take a punt on Rouse? Now, he's got the bye round 16. So if you need numbers in round 16, you don't want to go near this guy. But for me, I'm pretty set for round 16. I'm looking okay. As I said, flying up the rankings. As 5 names.
Are you looking for round 16?
Tagged spent a lot of time on Lockie Neal the weekend.
Did a good job. Well, I mean,
it's okay.
Okay.
Had a bit of it himself. He was around the ball a lot because of that.
Do you think that role's going to stick? We'd have to probably find out from some G-Dubs fans there. But I
was a bit worried about GWS's midfield. Like people tell me inches, it is just normally pretty stat.
Yeah, I don't know who's to come still back in there, but I mean, Brent Daniels was injured again on the weekend, so he would have been probably a guy that would have played a little bit more through the midfield. Toby Green, obviously, to come back in, he was playing a little bit through the midfield.
Callahan did come in, played.
Callahan was in.
Good for Whitfield's role.
So it almost looks like they're looking for another option in there. So anyway, if you need a rookie and he's named again this week, especially if he's named, say, on the ball, I'd be happy going with him. He's been in the system for a few years now, so yeah, I quite like Rouse, and big numbers in the VFL as well. Jack Martin, you mentioned him in your top targets. So playing in the back line this year for Geelong, 150K is the only issue here with Jack, and also injury history. 5 names. Could you consider him? 79 on the weekend, was pretty average the first week he played. Easy matchups, obviously, on the weekend as well. But 150, would you be willing paying up knowing that, the Cats seemingly have him in their plan to run into finals? They probably want to get him right before then. So, again, another guy on the round 16 bye. If you're heavy, you probably can't go there as well.
I think maybe a bit too risky just for the price as well.
Okay.
I don't know. Phantom knows more. I generally had not even paid attention to Jack Martin, so he knows. He knows a bit more than me.
Well, I think it's the role, isn't it? As you mentioned there, 15 touches, 10 marks, 15 touches at 93% as well.
Yep.
Now,
so break even negative 23 there, by the way, and Rouse negative 12.
Friend of the show, Dan Batten, down at Geelong, knows everything Geelong. I've seen his plan to trade this week, and his team almost complete does feature Jack Martin at F6 for the time being, so trading him in this week.
Yep.
If Dan likes the role, what he sees at the Cats, then, at least now, if it doesn't work out, we can just blame Dan.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's a good call.
It's always a good fullback.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, a couple more here. Nicholas Madden, 119K.
Your man.
Yeah, my man. I did a quote card for that one, I think.
Yeah. Surprised we didn't see that.
Nick Madden. So, played 2 games now, scored pretty well considering 81 and 78. Obviously, he's playing number 1 ruck for GWS, but post-bye, you'd imagine Kieran Briggs in the frame to return.
that's around when he's going to come back kind of thing.
So, and also just the ruck position. So, I don't know about you guys. Where do you put him? If your flex is free, maybe you take a punt and hope that he retains the role over Kieran Briggs. I would personally imagine it's a good 3-week stretch for him, but they're probably still going to go with the tried and true Briggs for the run home. So I'd probably avoid
Briggs
as much
has been
as,
so bad this year, though.
I know that's the only thing. Especially getting the win over Brisbane on the weekend with him in the lineup. So every chance he could possibly stay in. And then you look after his bye as well. He's got West Coast and Geelong in the 2 after, then Essendon. So GWS, the run for rucks, if Madden gets a crack at it for the next few weeks, like if you have a free spot in your flex, I wouldn't mind it.
So then you just run it for 4 weeks and then turn him into your final flex.
I think you've just got to be ready that, like, say if you still have a Harry Boyd as well, you've almost just got to, if Madden doesn't get this run after the bye, or even this week, like I think Briggs has still got another week before he's ready, so he should at least play this week and make you some cash. You've just got to be ready if you're going to want to hold him to like trade out a Boyd for absolutely nothing and just stick him at R3 if he's not playing. So you've got to be willing to have an extra trade to burn, which a lot of us don't have. Yep. So it's a risky trade, but being the number 1 ruck at 119K, he's got a very high floor and huge cash potential to make and a very nice ruck run, as I said. So very good potential there. And one more final guy. So there's not heaps of options this week. Sam Butler is on the buy as well, but you like what you've seen from him? 126K. So after his buy, or, you know, if you're just looking for a heartbeat, you need some players next week even. Is Butler an option?
Yeah, I think I said definitely wait to see what that Hawthorn side looks like coming out after the bye. See what Sam Mitchell does, but it's definitely done enough. Sam Butler, scored okay.
Negative 51 break even, had 70 on the weekend.
As a junior as well before he came into the system. So one to keep an eye on, sure.
55 and 70 in pretty low time on ground. Yeah. Got North after the bye as well. Anyway, that's just a few options. One final thing, Zach Johnson, is it too late for anyone that didn't jump on? He's up to 179K.
You send this one in?
Yeah, I sent this one in.
Well, if this was
negative 63 break even.
This was 5 or 6 weeks ago, wouldn't definitely not be too late. 179 is good buying. It's going to, they got to buy. But now, is it too late? I think it still might be. Buy coming up. They get a few back after it. He's been great. I'm not saying he's going to pull out the side, but when a Jordan Ridley, even a Zach Reid, Redmond play on the weekend?
Nah, he's still come back.
When these guys come in, they're going to demand more of the footy. So it's probably going to take footy away from Zach Johnson.
Okay.
I think it's too late. What do you think? Were you going to go there?
No, I think it's too late. I just need the cash to go up. So I'd prefer to miss it. As I said, I went early on a McCarthy, happy that I'm going to get cash there, happy that he's going to be there. I've just missed that cash, I think.
You took 5 kick-ins on the weekend.
Yeah.
Look, he's played on for 4 of them, though.
I think, again, it's down to how many trades you have, how much cash you need left to make your final team. I think I'm going to do better going right down to the basement guys and have that extra. Like if I go, say, Rouston, got an extra 60K, if Rouston makes me money and I get to do one more trade, cool. If not, I've still got all that money that I've made from the trade rather than going, losing an extra 60K on a trade that I might never make realistically. All right, well, that's all the targets we can talk about, I think. Anyone else? I think we get some questions.
Yep.
What do you reckon?
Yes, question time.
If they are asking that question, they can ask it to me directly. What question do you want to ask me?
Has Ken seen your hair yet?
I haven't seen him.
This week?
Nah, unless if I see him at training, because I'm off Wednesday, yeah. Oof. He probably asked about me on...
Did he?
When I was away, yeah.
Ooh.
Gave me a bit of a dig.
Did he?
Oh, really?
Well, we can't wait. We need the audio of your first press conference with Ken with the blonde hair.
Bit more of this.
Is that what you're asking me? That you're asking?
Nah, I think he was just said I was too lazy to show up. Pretty funny.
Oh.
Good stuff.
We've gone back to X at the Phantom SC. The next couple of friends of the show here. Patch obviously back from Spain, but Leg Dog, 12th for the round, I believe.
Yep.
Must be in Adelaide too. Best things to do midweek in Adelaide.
Yeah, he's coming over here. He's already hit me up.
Ooh.
Froth with Lek on the cards.
Well, he's got the perfect go-to guide. 5 names as Simeon Scorer's video series, the best pubs in Adelaide.
Yep.
Now, a few good pubs in there, regardless of if the footy's on or not. So check it out, Lek.
Well, you got number one?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was. A while ago.
Republic's a good shout, though.
Yeah.
We're back, going back there soon, aren't we?
Yeah. Might have to go back there soon.
Invite a few listeners down. Friday night, doubleheader, July 4.
More questions?
So, Sundog says, how many trades should we ideally and realistically have from here? How many do we all have before trades this week, and how many do you think of using?
I've got 8 coming in.
Same.
How many have I got?
I'm considering still going either 2. I really want to just finish like the rough skeleton of the final squad.
Yeah.
I got 6. Yeah.
Pre-trades?
Yeah.
Oh, what have I done? Spending a few extra ones down there, which is selling
so
trades for.
I'm looking at using 2, maybe 3, but probably 2. And then I'll have 6 here. And then next week, honestly, I'm looking at maybe not using any. So it'll just depend on if I can do a meaningful upgrade on the other end. But I think I want to then wait for, like, I had some random, like, more heroes for the week. Guys like Matt Carroll popping at 82. Bo Allen with a 69 coming out of nowhere after I think I was a bit upset the week before with him. But, yeah, a lot of rookies suddenly popping at the right time of year. I mean, I thought Clay Hall and Hustwaite last week might provide me some more cash, but they look pretty much done now. But yeah, like we've actually had some nice cash gens. So if I let them fatten up a little bit, say Matt Carroll for another few weeks, then I might just wait to make that final trade. I think it's okay to be patient when you've got that kind of skeleton. And as we mentioned, I mean, having trades at the end of the year for this person who's asked the question as well, I got stuck last year. I got stuck with injuries. So injuries will happen for your final squad. We've still got so many more weeks left of the season. So I think if you can get away with, if there's don't do luxury trades now is my advice. I did that last season. Really burnt me on the run home.
You went mad with your luxury trades.
I went I think I traded like Rowan Marshall to TDK at this time of year. Now TDK popped to 177 off the bat, very happy. And then TDK was injured for the last 8 weeks. So it's always good to, like I mentioned off the top, like trading a Gorn to a Grundy to get some cash. But at the end of the day, I don't think I'd ever recommend that because, next week somebody will do their hammy or like Horne-Francis might, we don't have the info yet. What if his shoulder's done? You've got another person that you're in trouble with. So things will happen down the stretch. It's good to have. How many trades do you reckon fans post by?
I think that's about right. 8 this week for me. I was planning to use 2 on my bigger picture plan. Angus Clark didn't go up enough. Needed 10 more K out of him to get Mills in 2 trades. But with Sam Darcy obviously presenting like he did on return, now this might force my hand a bit. I'll use 3 and then probably be about the same as you. We'll then wait, see how Zach Johnson goes, a couple others, and then maybe execute a final upgrade in a few weeks. That'll have 23 on the field. That was, Tom McCarthy will still be in that spot. So there's one more to probably do depending on his scoring. That would then leave me with, 3 trades for the run home, 3 or 4, which, that will be cutting it fine, but going hard at the real top end team on the park. So that's where I'm at.
All right.
A few more here to finish off. We've talked about Callum Mills, about the reasonable D6 option. We've probably answered that. I think we're happy with that, especially in this climate. Jimmy says, we've sort of discussed it with the Jason Horne-Francis, Sam Darcy, either or. Jimmy's thrown in Jack McRae as well. Choose 2 for the rest of the season. I think it's still Horne-Francis and Darcy.
That is tough though. I think McRae had 87, but he only played like 60% time on ground or something on return. So he could get back to his absolute best. Depends if they play around with the midfield mix when rather than if they're out of the finals picture. I don't know. What do you think, Sim? Jack McRae in that mix, would you still go the other 2, Horne-Francis and Darcy?
McRae's interesting. Like, I think you just may wait for him to go down a bit because he's going to be consistent. Like, that's the thing. He was like playing, and he started the season so well also.
124 break even, so his break even's actually more attainable than the other 2 you would suggest, given how he's gone. But Pre the injury, it was a 79 and a 77 leading into that injury, and then an 87 on return despite low time on ground. But it's not top 6 numbers, is it, for old McRae the last few?
No. Bundy Bear, not our friend of the show, Bear, but can I rely on Filippo and have 5 trades left?
Is that you? Is that your burner?
Or trade him?
He's gone for me.
Or trade him and end up on 3 trades. Is it worth a trade at this point of the year?
If he's played, it just depends if he plays, I think. Like if he plays, if we hear anything in the HBF injury report, I'm breaking even with Al Payton tomorrow. If you hear anything, on Wednesday, if you hear an update on that and he's playing, I'd just hold and rely is a strong word, but just back him in for the final bit. He's worth barely any cash. I got off last week because I just didn't think I didn't know what this injury was. I'd back him in if you're that low on trades, but yeah, if he's injured for the long term, just jump off.
A lot of horny one talk on BWAP this week. Yeah. One more to finish off. A bit of a general question. Anthony's got some specifics here, but it probably is a wider question for all of us. He says, full team, sort of, has Roberts, Mills, McKercher. I think that's fine. 8 trades left, 42K in the bank. Would you make trades to, say, bring in 50, 60K, say, Pedler to Jack Martin this week to enable further upgrades, build that bank, or just hold the trades to use them as sort of straight swaps for injury carnage? It's an interesting one. I'm not sure if it's enough for that 50K. I mean, is someone else going to pop up? Maybe. I don't think Pedler to Martin is it.
Yeah, I think that was one of my options this week, and I agree. That's where I'm just looking to make that extra bit of cash. What do you reckon, 5 notes? I think we've got to just bank as much cash as we can in these final little upgrades, and that's why like a Zach Johnson for me as well, just isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah.
5 names had enough. Just
Yeah,
checked out.
I know.
It's now. No wonder he is the best bloke on the pod.
Yep.
As well, shown up. Would have been happy to log in from home, bash out a few breaking stories like he does every Monday. But he's shown up for the fans. We promised him on the Code Sports YouTube channel after a week of who knows what. Well done, 5 names.
Saw some scenes.
So
Did some things.
Best bloke on the pod, worst bloke on the pod for just social.
Come on.
Embarrassing.
Can I just shout out one final thing? My fellow hammy puller from the weekend.
Yes.
The sniper, he was out. He was out. The same one. He's travelled up from Nairn off to Marvel. And
he got the horny one as well in between.
Yeah. And that was just the funniest clip I've just about ever seen. I think the coin toss hammy.
And did you see the photo the next day?
Yes, the bruise.
It was like yours.
It was the same. I said, so trust me, that could be 8 to 10 plus with a bit of tendon. So Dossie's not even back yet. So
when are you back?
2 to 3. 2 to 3.
Just been a long nail.
Yeah.
Are you going to come back?
I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah, it was very good.
It was good.
That was at the top of the show, that one sheet.
Yeah, sorry, mate. All right, we're petering out here, so that'll do it.
Well done.
Wrap up.
Good to have everyone back in one piece on the Lair. 5 names will be here for a little bit longer. Then he's off for his month-long sojourn in Europe, and we'll be checking in.
Please don't ring. Please don't ring.
The time difference as well could suit us. Could suit some good content when we
definitely
give 5 names a ring. But good luck in SuperCoach. Again, easy week this week, as we said. Listen.
Quickly, how are you guys going for round 16? I'm doing the extended bit again. You guys could, round 16
Just an off it. Are we finished?
No, this is vital.
That should be
I really wanted to touch on it because I know heaps of people are going to struggle, like GWS, Essendon, Geelong.
I just realised before that's why I wasn't paying attention that I kind of snooching myself with trades, and I couldn't get somebody back on my field. I
kept meaning to ask this during the show because so many people are going to struggle. Think about all the premiums like Neil, Dunkley, Baz, Holmes, Whitfield, Ash. There is a lot of names coming up.
I've got 19 at the moment.
19, and that is a lot of primos out though.
I've got in terms of primos.
I think be
Probably
ready.
about 5 or 6 out. So, yeah.
Just be ready for a big hit next week. And old Dossie's ready for a big rise because I've only got a few.
Just looking a bit grim.
I've only got Whitfield, Caldwell, and Baz Lenker. So that probably says where my premiums are at. But I reckon Dossie's looking for top. Look, I called it on Thursday last week, top of the pod for this week. I'm calling it now, top of the pod for round 16.
Could you trade?
Coming up, Dossie.
I might trade Zach Johnson. You could trade him then, make an upgrade, make the final upgrade then. Is probably what I'll do.
Okay.
That'll help.
All right. Stay tuned. Top of the pod for Dossie round 16.
Called it early.
Called it. Maybe this week as well. Why not? Back to back. Triple to finish the bias.
Good luck. See you next week.
Yeah.